Fifth Hour Radio Show.
Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and when did the ATV craze first hit you?
Well, I currently live just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up in Dover, Pennsylvania, and the ATV thing has always been a love of mine. You know, I started out on dirt bikes and then went to three-wheelers, and then when the four-wheelers came out and the side-by-sides, that was it for me. That was my love. And, man, we've been hooked on this thing for many, many years, ever since I was a little boy.
Do you remember the first ATV you owned?
Well, let's see. The first ATV, I remember the first three-wheeler that I owned. That was a Honda 200X. And then the first ATV, I think I bought a Honda 250X was the first one that I ever owned.
Now, I'm sure that's long gone by now, right?
Oh, yeah. And, actually, the first one I ever bought was when I decided to start an ATV dealership, because, honestly, I couldn't afford an ATV. It was always just kind of a dream. You know, ATVs weren't very cheap, and I didn't have a lot of money, so, you know, I rode friends' ATVs, and then I decided to open up an ATV dealership, and, you know, that was the first one that I bought that I resold.
So growing up, where did you do most of your riding?
Well, in Pennsylvania at that time, you know, there was a lot of open area, open land, you know, state forest, stuff like that. It wasn't as big as it is now, and now you have a lot of designated areas, but back then it was kind of like, man, you could ride almost anywhere you wanted to. So, you know, there wasn't a lot of restrictions then. So a lot of state forest lands in Potter County and, you know, places like that in Pennsylvania.
Well, at what point in your career did you decide, you know, or maybe a better way to put this would be, at what point did you have the opportunity to make this sport, you know, this lifestyle, something you could make a career out of?
Well, when we owned our dealership, I was still working at a printing company, and I worked at a printing company for 12 years. And it got to the point where the dealership that my wife and I were running had become so successful that I had to go in and give my brother, who was my boss, a 2-week notice. I said, I got to let you go. I can't afford to keep you anymore, because it was costing me money to be there.
Oh,
so, you know, I was probably 32 years old when I walked out of that place, and I walked away from a $60,000 a year, 5-6 week vacation, you know, solid security. And my wife was a little freaked out, but, you know, I had a dream. I wanted to chase a dream. I was an entrepreneur. And, you know, we started it with our ATV dealership, and we ran that for 3 years. And then I wanted to start a television show, which my wife thought I was crazy. Went out and bought some cameras, and, you know, we just started doing the television show and the dealership at the same time, and ran the dealership and the television show for another 2 years. And then we ended up selling the dealership and just going full-time in television. And now we've been doing television for this will be our 13th year that we've been doing TV.
Oh, wow. That is insane. Well, you're definitely the go-to guy on ATVs. And I got to ask you this, because where we live here in Southern Illinois, there's all kinds of, I mean, it's just a craze here. I mean, it's a craze. It's a way of living.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Three-wheeler versus four-wheeler. What's your opinion?
Oh, four-wheeler all the way. Three-wheelers are a death trap.
You know, but
I mean,
it seems like they're really making a comeback here. Do they even still produce the three-wheelers?
Oh, no. They're outlawed. They're illegal. You can't manufacture them anymore. The stuff that people are getting are stuff that they're finding on eBay, and, you know, people that have them sitting in their barns. And, you know, there's no comparison, you know, with a three-wheeler to a four-wheeler. You know, four-wheelers just so much more advanced, especially now. I mean, my gosh, they've got digital readouts, power steering, fuel injection. You know, it's amazing now.
You know, was it a hard sales pitch to get involved with the Outdoor Channel?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have your show accepted. You got to turn in a pilot, and then they review it, and you know, they'll accept it if it's good quality, and then you have to go get sponsorships. And that, for me, getting sponsorships was, you know, it's like anything else. You know, you're new, nobody knows who you are, and they don't know if you can do it. So the first year, even before I got on television, I had a goal. I made a commitment that I was going to make 15 to 30 phone calls a day, Monday through Friday, while we were still running our dealership, in between customers and stuff like that, that I would try and contact sponsors. and I got hung up on, I got cussed at, and told I had no television experience, no talent, I'd never make it, over and over and over. But, you know, I didn't give up. I kept on going, and after a year, I finally got Yamaha to come on board. And I think they just felt bad for me and were like, this guy just won't quit calling us. We're just going to give him enough money to put a sticker on his ATV, you know. So yeah, I mean, we actually fronted our television show for the first year, my wife and I. We paid $250,000 of our own money out of our dealership just to get this thing going.
Now, how big is your team right now? Do you still look for sponsorship yourself, or do you have someone else that does that for you? How does all that work?
Well, you know, things have changed quite a bit since the beginning. We have a lot of people calling us, and, you know, we have to make sure we team up with the right people. We still call on some people here and there, but it's a lot of people calling us, and we've developed relationships with, you know, some major companies that we've had for, you know, 10, 11 years. So it's changed a little bit, but we still call on some companies every now and then, and we'll see if it's a good fit. If it's not a good fit, it doesn't do us any good, and it doesn't do them any good.
Well, how much time do you spend out on the road now, you know, visiting these ATV parks and such?
We're going pretty much from the end of March until November. We actually are going almost all this month. I didn't check the schedule to see how many days we're home, but I think we might be home maybe 8 days this month, which is a lot. About a month or 2 months ago, we were home 4 days. So we're on the road all the time. We're either flying or we have a bus that we take to events, or, you know, I mean, it's just nonstop now. It's crazy.
Yeah, you know, for all those people out there that have absolutely no idea about this sort of thing that's listening, but might be interested in getting an ATV, or, you know, or thinking about it or whatever, what would you say to them to seal the deal? What makes the ATV so fun?
It's about a lifestyle. It's about getting out there and experiencing the outdoors and doing it with your friends and family, and things that you don't experience at home when you got your cell phones in your hands and your computers on, your TVs on. You know, it's getting out there and camping and just shutting the world off and getting back to that peace and quiet, and building relationships with your kids again. You know, we talk to a lot of people at events that we go to, and they'll come up to us, and it'll be a husband and wife, and they'll say, you know what? We were getting a divorce. We were done. We were actually not even talking to each other, and your show came on one night. And we sat there and we watched your show. Didn't even talk to each other the whole time the show was on. Your show went off, and we looked at each other and said, you think you'd like to try that? And now they're best friends. They go riding every weekend. And we hear that over and over about, you know, teenage kids and, you know, fathers and sons and, you know, fathers and daughters. And they're just getting out and enjoying the lifestyle. You will experience things out on the trail and in the woods and camping that you will never experience at a mall or behind a computer or on your cell phone. I promise you.
Now, I'm going to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being the highest, how much of a daredevil are you when you're out trail riding?
Well, I'm not. I'm very, very smart in how I ride. You know, I respect the machine. I mean, I'm 45 years old now, so my daredevil days are over. I let that up to the younger people. I got a lot of people that expect paychecks in their pots on Friday. I've got a lot of major contracts with partners that, you know, some of them even stipulate that if I do something stupid and get hurt, that, you know, they have the right to terminate my contract. So, you know, I'm a lot smarter now. And for me now, it's about getting out and enjoying the lifestyle and featuring the just trail riding and having fun. You know, we got a show coming up on Monday, and it's Hawaii Part 1.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, that has got to be one of the coolest shows that we've done, and I can't tell you how long. You know, it was just a totally cool experience. You know, we did an ATV and we did snorkeling, helicopter ride. We went on a luau. It was so much stuff that we did, so many outdoor activities, that those are the kind of things that you live for. And that's, to me, that's what it's all about. It's not about being a daredevil anymore for me. So I would say probably on a scale of 1 to 10, I might be like a 3.5.
So you do more than just trail ride. You're out there doing the snorkeling. You're doing other things like that.
Oh, yeah, we do zip lining. I mean, just the other day we did a shoot in West Virginia at the Hatfield McCoy Trail, and, you know, we rode the first day, and then the second day we took some kayaks down the river, and, you know, we kind of experienced the area and the lifestyle. And, we might hit up some restaurants and show people what there is to see and do in the area. It's not just about going there and riding, because, the wives and the kids may not want to ride every day. So we give them things to see and do and options, and kind of like a travel channel, destination, adventure lifestyle type show.
How has the sport evolved? You mentioned that a few minutes ago. Over the years, as far as the equipment, places to ride, is there just as many female riders now as compared to males?
Oh my gosh, there is so many female riders now, and kids, compared to 10, 15 years ago when we were kind of running our dealership. It was a lot of males, and the females weren't really as accepted to the whole outdoor riding thing. But then I would sell an ATV to a guy, and he would come back 2 days later or a week later and say, "Oh, I need another one. My wife took that one." So then, now you're selling to husbands and wives. And now with the side-by-side craze, they're out selling ATVs 4 or 5 to 1. And now the husband can take the wife, and they can cruise down the trail like they're riding in a Jeep in, some of the most advanced equipment that's been on the market for years. And they can talk to each other, and they can enjoy themselves. You can put a radio in that thing. I mean, they put heaters in them. It's all the conveniences of a Jeep going down the trail. And they'll put their ice chest in the back and go and have lunch out in the middle of nowhere, pitch a tent. So nowadays, the modern conveniences of ATVing has really caught on, and of course, the ladies and the kids really enjoy that part of it.
Now, apart from actually going out and riding and doing the show, do you have other hobbies you enjoy doing to pass the time?
I do like hunting, but I don't hardly ever get to do it. I mean, I'm a bow hunter. Last year I didn't get to hunt at all. We were so busy. Our schedule was tight. We were moving to Nashville in November, so I didn't even get a chance to hunt last year. But, really, honestly, we just work all the time. We travel, and we don't have a lot of time for hobbies.
What about TV shows? What about favorite TV shows?
I don't really get to watch a lot of TV. I get to make a lot of TV. But I'll tell you, there's one show, and I'm actually going to try and get on this show, and it's Rob Dyrdek's Ridiculous.
Oh, really?
Ridiculous show. That show has got to be one of my favorites, because I like seeing other people get busted up when it's not me.
Hey, have you ever had a really bad spill?
Yeah, I wiped out one time in California, and we were at the Dumont Dunes, and I was on a shoot with the magazine Dirt Wheels, and I was trying out these brand new top secret ITP tires and wheels, and my camera guy was following me with a camera on the ATV, and man, I just caught like a witch's eye. And we were riding around high noon, which you're not supposed to do in the desert because the shadows, you can't see where the holes are.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, I tell you, I went over that thing, and you think sand is soft? That's not the case. I mean, I hit so hard, I busted up my new helmet. The four-wheeler ran me over. I rolled down the hill. I didn't even know where I was. I didn't even know what state I was in.
Well, man, what's coming up for you in the near future? Any big plans or events besides that show on the horizon?
Well, we after 12 years on the Outdoor Channel, we've made a big commitment with Discovery's Velocity Channel, and we're moving there on January 5th. At 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the Sunday. Every Sunday we'll be on there on Velocity Channel, which is a big boost for us, because we're going from 39 million homes to 68 million homes, and their projected growth is 80 million in 2014. So there's a huge growth for us and for the ATV industry. It's just a big market for us, and I've also just signed a deal with Premier Speaker Bureau in Franklin, Tennessee. I also do motivational speaking. So, I've really kind of taken on that role, and we're doing a lot more of that next year. And so, it's evolving. There's a lot of things in the future for us, and it's just getting good. When you do something for, 12, 13 years, you think, man, what else could happen? But there's so much more cool stuff that's around the corner for us that we're looking at right now that, it's an exciting time for us.
Well, how about you tell our listeners where they can go as far as websites, social media, and stuff like that to learn more information about you and your show?
Yeah, we have a website, fishersatvworld.com, and we're also on Facebook And we just started a Vimeo thing where we're doing some pictures and videos, and Twitter. You know, FishersATVWorld.com. If you just Google that, look for that, you know, hit our website. We've got a lot of information all over the place. And what we're going to start doing in January, because we don't have an exclusive deal with Discovery, is we're going to have our shows up on the internet that you can watch them too. You don't even have to go to television and watch it. You can watch it anytime you want right online. So you'll be able to see that at our website, FishersATVWorld.com.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking time out to join us on the show, man. We really appreciated it.
You bet. Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it, you guys.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.